Good morning again. So in today's class, we will just discuss general things, maybe tomorrow also a little bit general things. And from Monday, we will start the um, actual syllabus. These two classes, I would want to use it for inculcating or implementing a kind of thinking. Okay, we should focus on in today's class, I'm mostly talking about general things about us and trying to understand self and where do we want to put ourselves. In tomorrow's class, we will discuss about scientific method. So these are some of the things which will require a psychological self-analysis, and then that should be useful to you in the future as well. This is a skill that is not necessarily a knowledge, as in the type of book, but it's actually a interpersonal or personal, intrapersonal skill. So we will, our the superpower of humans, if there is any, it is with the brain. We have one of the, if not the most, most, but body to brain size ratio. We have higher brain size to body ratio compared to many other organisms. So let me check. Somebody has messaged on the group. Yeah, that's fine. So what I want you to understand is how physically weak we are. I mean, we don't have any class to fight anybody, or we don't have any canine, not so much of a canine, to inflict injury into anybody else. So basically, we are in many ways weak. If it isn't for the tools and technology that we have, we would have and also the cooperation and the groups that we make. If it is not for those skills, it would have been very difficult for us to survive. But there is one thing, is our superpower is our brain. And there are multiple things that the human brains, along with the bodies, one of the things that it does is language for communication, and it has all this part is a majority of it is for abstract thinking, predictions, and so many other skills like that. So with communication, imagination, thinking, and all these things, we form groups with incredible amount of cooperation, and then we do many things. That's how we have dominated as a species. We have dominated the world. So what I'm trying to imply here is that I want you to ensure that you are reflecting on your mental skills. That is where learning, there are two things important for a human, or the incredible skills, according to me, are learnability and teachability. Learnability is we watching and learning. We watch, observe a lot of things, and we learn very fast. No other animal learns as fast as we do. The second one is teachable. Say, if somebody is telling us to do something or explaining something, we are better at responding to that. That is the ability to be taught. Okay, here this is kind of our own voluntarily we going and learning something. That's learnability. And teachability is when somebody is teaching us, we hear and learn. So these are the biggest skills a human has, because the rate at which we learn and the rate at which we get taught are very high. And that's because, again, it is owing to our skills with the brain. So I want you to also consider this to instill a kind of confidence and loving for self in terms of curiosity with our brain. First thing, assume something like this is the intelligence based on our background, age group, and many other things. Assume that that is the social standard of intelligence. If you think um, if you think you are not that intelligent, then you are there are different people think at different levels. Some people think I am generally not so intelligent. Some people think I am intelligent according to the standards, assume generally. And some people think I'm more intelligent. If you think you're lesser, then you're probably, or very likely, you're innocent. But if you think you are equal to the standard, your mental capacities or so, then you're intelligent. And if you think you are more intelligent than the standards, then you are Einstein. That's a possibility. It's prodigies or some special category. But there is also highly likelihood that we are ignorant. So the best or the most likelihood is that one should always believe that you are as intelligent as the standards, that the kind of atmosphere we are in, age group, and many other things do play a role. But I want you to believe that you are capable of mental skills like anybody else. All it requires, though, is curiosity. All it takes is to be interested in something. What is interesting and what is not interesting? We all like to watch a movie or a cricket match or something like that. But we also are supposed to be curious about knowledge, right? The difference between a movie and reading a textbook is, in a movie or cricket match, you get this dopamine rush or um, adrenaline rush, and you feel good about it. That is instant gratification. Instead, I would want you to also pay attention to something that is called delayed gratification, where you read, and eventually you feel good and great about yourselves. So we should be able to hang in there, even though there is no instant gratification, and keep doing what you're doing until you feel the gratification out of the efforts that you put in. So books and knowledge are always involved with delayed gratification. And I want you to practice that, being able to hang in there until you feel the happiness about what you're doing. So to start with, we are all actually born scientists. Tomorrow we will discuss about little more about the scientific method, but we are all born scientists. We are curious about everything. We touch, we get hurt, we do many things, right? We have unhindered thoughts and we have unhindered actions. That is what is trying to know what things are around. We are trying to make sense of the surroundings. We take something, put it in your mouth, it may taste yucky, we throw it away, and then we have learned something. Curiosity is everything that drives. So it's not that we don't have curiosity. We always had it. But then at home or at school, they kill us with saying, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And that is where we become like this. And it's not a bad thing that they're saying. They're saying it, parents or teachers, they say it for our safety. But I think we should all try to have educated and qualified actions that are driven by curiosity. So they should be useful too. So what I want you to is eventually feel the knowledge, and to pursue knowledge, to pursue intelligence, trying to become intelligent and being curious about it, happy about knowledge. So I'm giving you a question, and I would want you to tell me anything that comes to your mind. You can also type in case. What do you see there? And what do you feel about it? I would have liked this to be in a regular classroom. It would have been fantastic. In online mode, maybe we are not. So I will take the opportunity to do this. Oh, we have several responses looking at the monkeys here. How many monkeys do you see? First thing, probably if you are looking at the emotion, then we'll say, oh, it's so cute, right? Oh, they're beautiful, blah, blah, we will say. That's nothing wrong in it. It's fantastic to say that. Second thing is, oh, there are the three monkeys are very cute, you will say. And somebody will come and say, no, there are actually four monkeys. And this is the one, another one that you are seeing here. Maybe there is one behind them that we cannot see. So we are paying attention to the to every small details that are available. Yesterday, I discussed about remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, interpreting, creating, and so on. Right? The first instant that we get is our knowledge. The way we are using or perceiving things is, oh, they're cute and so on, beautiful, they look la la. And we might also say, oh, they're very loving family members. We can create some things like that, a story out of what you see. I hope when you are in your schools, you are made to write picture writing. A picture is given and you will be told to write anything about it, make something coherent about it. And that is exactly what we should do everywhere in our lives. I mean, that is practicing or trying to sharpen our brain every day. So this is a family. Nobody knows that. Is this a group? Yes, they certainly belong to one troop. They are very loving. They're caring each other and so on. And why are they hugging? Because they love each other or anything else? I hope you can see this white thing here, right? That is all snow. I hope you all have experienced snow. The first time I experienced snow, it was best feeling ever so far that I had. When the snow falls and you're walking, and that's a great thing to have. So now why are they hugging? Maybe it is cold, and that's why they're hugging. So if it is cold, why should they hug? What is the logic of it? They give warmth. Hugs give warmth. How does it give warmth? Or is it what is happening over there? So if the logic of trying to understand things is, or the way you observe and analyze at what rate you're observing is important. So if you have 3 or 4 independent monkeys, because we can see there are 4 monkeys here, so we'll put it like this. Each of them is producing, by virtue of their metabolism, they're producing heat. They're all poikilotherms, that is, they maintain, homeotherms, that is, they maintain their body temperature at, say, 37 degrees like humans do. So they're all producing heat. And the outside temperature, say it is about 0 degrees centigrade. That means the rate of heat loss is very high. That heat loss is coldness. You feel chill. So how can we reduce the amount of heat loss? Then the logical solution would be to come together like this. Now, how much surface area is there? When they are all separated like this, you have more surface area through which the body heat is being lost. Once they become together like this, now the surface area to lose the temperature or body heat is reduced drastically. And that is how they keep warm. And that is the logic of everything. These animals did not plan to do that. These animals, in many animals, you can also see it in long herds of penguins in Antarctica. Everywhere you will find logic come by itself. It's it is a it's an instinct rather than thinking of, okay, your surface area, my surface area. Monkeys or any other organisms don't calculate the surface area and so on. If there is a need, they would it automatically happens. How does it happen? That's all incredible thing that happens within the brains of these animals. The brain is on automatic. And there are two things I should actually tell, but it will be too many things in one day. So if you are really interested in biology, we should actually study the origin of life to start with that. I mean, these are some of the biggest questions that I have. Prior to that, probably we should have how did the origin of universe, okay, and the origin of life, the origin of brain, and the origin of species, right? For me, these are the biggest questions that we have. So life and species thing are actually, until here, there is it is driven by physics. And from here on, everything is driven by evolution. Okay. Evolution is, in the simplest ones, is you randomly generate many types of variations, and the best fits will survive, and the rest will go extinct. Okay. So how did the evolution of life, origin of life, how did the origin of species and origin of brains happen? That's an interesting, or the most interesting thing that I find in all of biology. Out of which this brain is something even more abstract and special, because it has it is kind of information system by itself. So until, say, if you're talking about the body of an animal, then it's understandable, it's easy to contemplate. But if you're selecting or if evolution is working on at the level of behavior, then that becomes something different, isn't it? So I would suggest you all to be very open to evolution, because it's an exciting, very interesting topic, because it is applicable everywhere in almost all the fields. So I would want you to have a clear-cut idea. Maybe tomorrow we will try to have a little bit discussion about evolution as well. So now I'm going to come to something else. I think we know about the properties of life. We have all been studying it all along. And they will say Mrs. Graham, something like that. That is somewhere to remember the properties of life. Anyway, evolutionary adaptation, having a proper order, response to the environment. We'll also have regulation, energy processing, or you can call it as metabolism, growth and development, and reproduction. Some of the features. Before I go further, I would want you to ask, I hope you can see this picture. Here is a seahorse. I hope you can see how it is mimicking its surroundings, and that is a way of avoiding its predators also. First thing, looking at this picture, what I want you to understand is the diversity of organisms that are present in the animals. How can they be so diverse? Why should they be diverse? Say bacterium is even more simple. It's just one cell membrane bound organism, some genome, and that's it. How did so many different types of organisms come by? That's the diversity is first thing that we need to appreciate. And the ways of how different organisms respond. I hope you can see that this is orderness, so much of order. Adaptation, you can see that this is the response, stimuli, response to stimuli. A Venus flytrap, once if wave dragonfly comes here, these two close inwards, and then they digest the organism. And here is regulation. These ears that you have are supposedly, that is where the um, transactions of temperature happens. If it has to cool down, it will pump more of its blood in here, and they get cooled down faster, so that this organism can maintain its body temperature at 37 degrees centigrade or so. Energy processing. Hummingbird, I think the wings of a hummingbird beat more than 500 times per minute or something like that, or even more actually. So they're hovering near a flower, and then they're sucking the nectar from here. Imagine the amount of energy this bird is using to get more energy, right? This is all for the existence, survival, and parental care, and many other stuff. So we all take in energy, we all spend energy, take in more energy to spend more energy. That is, energy is continuously being processed until this happens, until the death. Um, we take in energy. There is one more thing. Sometimes we take in energy and matter, and we don't give as much. Say we took 10 units of it, but we only give 5 units. What happened to the rest? The rest of the 5 units are big, they become part of the body itself. That's growth. Okay. And when we all know that we all come from one zygote, and then we develop, and now we are something, a full organism with about 210 cell types, different cell types. And that from here to here, there is development, differentiation of cells, and many other things that happen. And then reproduction. That is one of the other things that is most important feature, or kind of essential, that every organism reproduces. I mean, that's a statement I can debate against too, but we will get to that. Before going, we will also try to have an overview of biology. You can take it, this is Earth, you can take it as the biosphere. And biospheres have a lot of, say, forests. Forests have a lot of communities, which is including the plants, flora and fauna. And then you have a groups of populations. This one population of one species, and so on. Here is one organism, and then one organism has organs like in leaf or a heart, kidney, and so on. Each organ has several tissues, and tissues are made up of cells. Cells are made up of cell organelles. Cell organelles are made up of atoms or molecules, and then molecules are made up of atoms, and so on, and electrons. And then you go down, you might come to quarks and other things. That's beyond my area. That's where physics starts, right? Until from here on, this is where biology starts. And that, I think, is the most complex one. People attribute more to physics, but because I'm a biologist, I should defend biology. The difference between physics and biology is we can play with physics, but actually biology plays with us. It has too much. It's unpredictable. It is non-deterministic many a times. And that's where everything becomes a little bit fuzzy. And that's what makes biology interesting. The difference, however, is as a student or a teacher of biology, how are we dealing with biology is the question. If we are dealing it with, okay, what is there, I will learn, and that's it, then we are just being doing kind of formality. The other one is trying to understand what is not yet known, trying to wonder about it, and trying to dig deeper into each of these phenomena. That's where actual biology starts. That's where challenges in biology starts. If we are only learning until what is there, that is only knowledge of biology. When you cross that boundary, that is where intelligence of biology starts. And I hope you will realize those things, or you might have already realized it. It's an exciting field to be in, and it's one of the best things, especially if you are studying something like brain or genes, DNA, genetics. These are all something really exciting. So I'm giving you a quick question here. I want you to calculate this fast, and you can send it as a group. I'm giving you 5 minutes to do this. Faster. You're all engineers, so you should be able to do it faster. It's been a long while I saw this. Just type in your answer in the chat. Yes, I think that is the answer, 24. Can you all tell me what is the weight of individual? What is the weight of a cat, dog, and a rabbit? I also have one more question. I want somebody who wants to answer this question. Who wants to take up? Anybody? You should be. I want you to explain the answer. Okay, then I will ask Pranav. Can you explain how you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So the rabbit part and the rabbit and the cat is equal to 10 kg. So rabbit plus cat is equal to 10 kg, and dog plus rabbit is equal to 20 kg, and this cat plus dog is 24 kg. What I do is like I will add all the three, so I'll get two rabbit plus two cat plus two dog is equal to 54 kg. So
That's
I'll
right.
take the two out, and the total answer is 27 kg. But since you asked the answer for each one, I don't figure out. That's why.
Yeah, that's all right. Dog, cat, 24. So here is one why I asked is, thank you, Pranav.
Thank you.
I'm just telling you about one of the answers that I learned from one of the students some 5 years back or so. Otherwise, I do it in a very complicated way. To answer this one, it is simple, right? The total of it is 54. There are two cats, there are two rabbits, and there are two dogs. That means you can see this, right? 54 is twice that of this combination. So if I divide it by 2, I'll get somewhere 27. So if one cat, one rabbit, one dog should weigh somewhere around 27 kilograms. And there are other ways of solving this also. I had a complicated one, but I think this one is the easiest, so I took it up. What I want you to understand is we are different people. We can arrive at this answer using different logics. We don't have to do it the same way as somebody else has done. I mean, unless that is the only way. So I would want you to try your own ways too. That is how we will grow by ourselves. Otherwise, we do not. So one question, an answer for a question can be reasoned, might be reasoned by different logics. They should be valid though. Okay, so keep that in mind and trust that you can hang in there until you get the answer. And if you keep on doing it, the speed will increase. So I have one. I think I'll discuss one small thing and then we will stop. So we want to derive what is life, or what is the purpose of life. That is what is the objective of life. That is one thing we will try to do. So in all organisms that we have seen before, we know about growth. What are the other properties? We said reproduction and response to stimuli. Um, we said a few more things. What are those? Okay, adaptation, metabolism, we will write. Okay, we'll just stick to that. And then metabolism. So we are trying to use some kind of deduction to find out what is the objective of life. Okay, humans, yeah, we grow, reproduce, response to stimuli, and metabolism. Other animals, they do. We are also animals. We are no different. In plants, metabolism, yes. Reproduction, yes. Growth, yes. Response to stimuli is there, not exactly the way we see it. Like a mosquito is biting, so we hit it. It might not be that fast, but they do respond to sunlight and many other things like that. But otherwise, we have seen the example of the Venus flytrap that responds instantaneously. So what does a bacterium do? Metabolism, response to stimuli, it reproduces, it does grow. What does virus do? It doesn't have metabolism on its own. It actually depends on the bacterium or the host cell. It doesn't have any response to stimuli by itself. It reproduces. There is nothing called growth in viruses. They get assembled like it is made in a factory. In the host cell, they get assembled. I hope you also know other subcellular organisms. These are organisms. These are viruses. They are not cells, right? They do not have a cell membrane. They live off other cellular entities or organisms like this. But there are also plasmids. There are also viroids, right? They are almost similar. The difference between viruses and plasmid: virus is made up of a nucleic acid, either RNA or DNA, plus protein. I'll just write DNA. Plasmids are often, they just have nucleic acid, only DNA. Viroids are just made up of RNA, no protein. So you can see the increasing complexity if you are trying to see viroids, only RNA, plasmids, only DNA. It is controversial, but some RNA-based plasmids are also apparently there. And then viruses, you have nucleic acid, either DNA or RNA, and with a protein. Some of the viruses also have membranes. And from here, you have bacteria. They're prokaryotes. They do not have true nucleus. And from then you have eukaryotes. We can also include fungi, protists, and other things. But they're all eukaryotes with true nucleus. They have cell organelles like mitochondria and plants also have additionally chloroplast and so on. So if we compare, all these are propagating entities. That means somehow they are able to make more copies of themselves. That is propagation. When we say life, we only say, most often we only say about bacteria, plants, animals, and human, or those with cells. Those with cells are called as living or living things. Virus by itself is not living um, when it is outside the host, but if it is in the host, then they call it as living. So it is conditional. Whether it is living or not is dependent on the context. The same can also be applied to plasmids and viroids as well. If you look at all these things, there is only one common thing that we find in all living things is reproduction. So that is the objective of life. Every propagating entity or life forms that we know of, the essential feature is to reproduce. I can actually have more discussion on that, but say, I hope you know what is a mule, right? A mule is something that is born between after crossing donkey and a horse. Okay, these two are of different species. One has 63 chromosomes and one has 64 chromosomes. And when they are made to allowed to cross, you produce an organism called mule. That is actually most of them are always sterile. That means they cannot reproduce. Do we call mule a living thing? Yes, indeed. We do call it. It is performing all other characteristics except reproduction. But still, mule is living. We know, we see it. The same can go if you find a seed, okay, or a spore. Do you call it as living or non-living? It's a difficult one to answer also, because it is there. It is not exhibiting any property. It will grow, give rise to a plant and grow and so on, only in favorable conditions, otherwise not. Should we still call it living or not? These are something like debates, philosophical debates that will never end. In my experience, or with my so far trying to understand or trying to define life, there is one thing that is common. They all have genetic information. That is the one thing common in all of propagating entities. So that is an essential thing. There is one more thing I will put it to understand or address the mule paradox here, whether it is living or not. The other one is replication, right? All propagating entities have genetic information. All propagating entities undergo replication. You see replication in a mule. That is how it forms more number of cells, right? But there is again, just to debate like a philosopher, you can also talk about, what about red blood cells? Are they living? They do not have nucleus. Most mammalian red blood cells do not have nucleus. The genetic material is not there, except that of camel, I think. Camel red blood cells have nucleus, but others do not have. So can we still call this red blood cell living or non-living? We call it living because it has mRNA. There are stable forms of mRNA that keep producing the proteins and other things required for the survival of red blood cells. Red blood cells survive some around 30 to 90 days or something like that, based on the different situations. So because they have mRNA, here mRNA is acting as the genetic information to express. So I hope I gave you something enough to think about, so that you can try to address what is life, what is not. I would, because we are in early, say mid BTech on something, bachelor's, it's a good time to have discussions on, or contemplations about life and many other things. And I was to highlight this. This is what we are studying. Okay. Every organism has genetic information. Every propagating entity undergoes replication. And there is one more thing: expression and regulation of the genetic information happens in all the other cells, including viruses and plasmids also. Okay, they have genes that need to be expressed. That means what is central to um, life is what we are actually studying. That is molecular genetics. It is the study of, as I was telling yesterday, life is information, right? If you remove the genetic information, there is no life. Everything, including many of our behaviors, are encoded in our um, genes, if not all. So, what is the objective of our life? Certainly, it just shouldn't be only reproduction. Of course, as living organisms, propagation of self and propagation of human species, that's what will become. But otherwise, we have many other things to do. We need to somehow, that is what we're trying to do, human species, either directly or indirectly. Directly by trying to work out some healthcare contribution, intellectual contribution. That is what we are supposed to do. Of course, we can also be um, altruistic and give away many things to others, help in need, and so on. But our species is a species of information, that is to develop more or to generate more knowledge so that we can solve one of the problems, like being in healthcare, or just give away money. And these are different kinds of jobs we will see. This is where doctors, nurses, paramedics, and others will come. This is somewhere, if you have, anybody can do that. If you have something, some extra money, you can always give it to this. These are maintaining society, like in the police, law, and every administrative building in every sector is usually how the society is maintained, banking, and so on. These are business people, and this is where teachers, professors, and others come. This is about spreading true knowledge, not false knowledge or not stupid knowledge. And knowledge can be stupid too. Somebody can generate any kind of thing and tell, and then we are likely to believe it. Instead, we are supposed to find what is true knowledge, and only then, if it is true, that is when you spread it, otherwise not. And this is the job of the scientist, okay, where you are finding more things that we don't know, or developing more better things. It could be directly for human welfare or indirectly through environment, and that environment is required for us. So that is also another way. I find, I mean, we can be biased on it. I am biased probably. This is where I find the best things. One is to generate truer and more information, new information, and the second one is to spread that knowledge to in a very authentic way to the society. So I hope we will all be able to build our things with what we have, and we should be able to do it at the best knowledge, be creative, be playful, and be receiving. Okay. And these kinds of characters will always help us all become better selves. Okay. I'll stop here. I hope I gave you some things to think about, and maybe you should find your own inspiration. All I need is we stop trivial things and not stop. There are some things for entertainment, that's well and good, but there should be something else for that should be able to drive us in the future. And for that, knowledge is everything. And pay attention to those. Think about these philosophical questions: what is life, what is information, kind of things. And then I have a challenge for you all. Tomorrow, in tomorrow's class, I want you to find the definition of life. Okay. Each one is allowed to give only one definition. It can be from anywhere, anything, but you should be able to defend the definition. As soon as the class starts, I would like you to throw it in the chat box, and then we will have a discussion on that. Okay. Any questions or discussion? Anything? Now I'm turning off the recording, so we can just talk in general.